Your topic today is one of good governance and in the corporate sector becoming essential. We believe in a highly competitive and a socially responsible corporate sector of enterprises which can both expand, join the global value chain, but also fulfill their duties both by the employees and also by society. And today we will be discussing many aspects of good governance. But as His Excellency the Ambassador said, good governance is not limited to enterprises, corporate sector. Today in Sri Lanka, the biggest challenge of good governance applies to all of us. How do we re-establish and strengthen a democratic society? This has been in the forefront not only amongst us here in Sri Lanka, but also in the international community. And the resolution which we co-sponsored and for which we are responsible last Friday is based mainly on having Sri Lanka becoming a fully functional democracy. We've all been discussing the resolution in bits and parts. It is like the blind men who try to describe the elephant. It depends on whether you touch the tail or the trunk or the body. So we have different aspects of it. I am not going to talk of that, but if you take it as a whole, what is our primary objective? What is our primary obligation? To establish in the next 2 years a fully democratic society. That's something we have been used to. We are a very vibrant democratic society, sometimes taking party politics to the extreme. But all that changed in the last decade, when our own rights as people suffered, when the main institutions of the judiciary, the parliament and even the executive suffered. First and foremost, if we are trying to bring reconciliation to Sri Lanka as a democratic country, we cannot do that only by limiting ourselves to judicial mechanisms or non-judicial mechanisms. It must be in the background of a highly functional democracy. So are we to go back to the old systems and the old ways, good ways and bad ways? We thought no, we will work it out and try and reduce the bad habits and see where we could work together. This is also the basis on which the two main parties of Sri Lanka, the UNP and the SLFP, got together to have a government for 2 years. Let's sit down, let's reduce the party rivalries and then see where we are headed for. It doesn't mean that party rivals will be absent. You will find some of it early next year when you go for the local authority elections, but we all decided we should not postpone it. The local authorities require members, new fresh blood. And secondly, let the parties contest separately, but let's complete this process by March next year. In November, we will announce the economic policies and the budget debate, and January, February is the time that we prepare to implement our plans, and while that's on, parallelly we will have the elections. But from there onwards, we get down to the serious business of governing. And it means that we have 2 years from the day the resolution is passed, as 30th of October. We have time till 2017 to implement our democratic framework. What do we do? Firstly, as the President Maithripala Sirisena announced yesterday while he was in New York, we require a new constitution. But all parties are agreed that the new constitution must be done quickly, and lot will depend on our ability to decide on what the electoral system is. Constitution making, after all, is horse dealing, and this is the key to it. Secondly, the issue of how powers are to be devolved, what are the shortcomings of the present structure, what more can be done. So these will be the two main issues that we'll address. But we have the issue of parliament. Progressively, the powers of parliament had been downgraded. The war became an excuse not to debate issues. I remember, despite there being uprising in the north and trouble in the south, we had long debates on the 13th Amendment in Parliament. We had long debate in granting citizenship to the remaining persons of Indian origin in 1986. We had long debates when Chandrika Kumarthung was the president on the new constitution. But all that had gone. Parliament rarely met to discuss anything of value. As leader of the opposition, I said there is nothing we can do except to ask questions in the first hour. And then we were debating some inconsequential regulations on stamps or the items which we somehow managed to make the basis of debates either on the economy or human rights. But that's not the way it should be. So we want to strengthen Parliament. We are proposing oversight committees, more on the model of the European Union Parliament, a parliamentary budget office, because it's the Parliament's duty to keep control of the public finances. The Jayawardena Centre to become a research and a training centre for Parliament, and we'll expand all the, for this we need space for these new activities. So we'll take over the Ministry of Agriculture, which is behind the Speaker's house, and the ministry will shift across the road to Setsiripala. So these are the plans that we have done in respect of the legislature. Then we come to the executive. You have to make the cabinet work. Executive power has to be taken by the cabinet, because we are together. We have a cabinet of nearly 47 members. But how do we make it? So we will have to rely on a committee system. But most of all, the issues we have to face is in regard to the judiciary. Is the Sri Lanka's judiciary sufficiently strong? What is the body blow we suffered when Shirani Bandaranaike was hastily removed as Chief Justice? Actually, during the discussions on the UN resolution, the only issue that came up, and I was surprised, was not about the armed forces, but about the judiciary. Have you got a sufficiently large, strong judiciary? And our discussions finally, we took up the position, we have to work through our domestic mechanism. But in that new mechanism we created, the domestic mechanism is not at the core of it, which a lot of people are getting excited. Our objectives are national unity through finding out the truth and reconciliation. Everyone agrees that we should find out the truth, but then finding out the truth means reconciliation cannot suffer. We have to look at the victims, what compensation, what else we do for them. But as one of the members of the TNA told me, all that we do will not bring the dead alive. But let us actually ensure it won't happen again, and there's unity. So we are having one office to look at the missing persons. It will be a permanent one, a special counsel who will look into all the issues that come up and the allegations, and then the office of the missing person is innovation by Sri Lanka. Then go on to a new truth commission, which is different from what's done earlier in South Africa and others. It will have two major components. It's like a parliament with two houses. You will have the commission per se, headed by independent individuals, to go into it and to decide what should be done. In many instances, it will be a question of remorse. And the other is that to bring unity, there will be a compassionate council. Now this is new. Compassionate council is being will be manned by members of the clergy selected by the Mahanayakas, the cardinal, the bishop, the key Muslim and Hindu leaders. So this will decide the course of action. So they will look towards compassion, and finally the commission will decide whether any cases should go into a judicial mechanism. We are devising one which will be under domestic jurisdiction. But the discussion is always on this domestic jurisdiction, not on the fact that our aim is truth and reconciliation. If we are going to keep on filing cases, it will go on for long, and there will be more feelings on either side. And one side will say, you are filing us, there are no one you are filing on the other side, which we cannot do because they are all dead and gone, though some of them have committed, LTT has committed horrible crimes. So we have to find a middle way, and being Sri Lankans, we found our own way. We put our heads together with some of the religious leaders, civil society, and even members of the Tamil and the Muslim communities, and we came together to ensure that we can have our own mechanisms to restore good governance. So at the end, at the very the base of this is a democratic society. The right you have as citizens to speak your mind, the right you have to worship your religion. We should not have churches being broken, Muslim shops being attacked, the Mahanayaka of Malwatta being threatened that he opens his mouth, there be a split in the Siam Nikaya, or having Lamborghinis running night races during the Candipet Hell. So they are Buddhist or Christian or Muslim or Hindu, everyone should have the right of worship, the same rights that citizens have in the European Union. The ambassador, His Excellency the Ambassador, has been talking of. So this is a challenge, and it's not a challenge only for the government, it's not a challenge only for Parliament, it's a challenge for all of us. A democratic society is your society, but that's the only way the sovereignty of the people can be safeguarded. There will always be extremists on either side who will oppose it for different reasons, but the people as a whole has to face this challenge, civil society, all of you, in re-establishing, having a strong and vibrant democratic society in which you feel safe, and some of the excesses of party politics of the earlier times are missing. Then we can go ahead and with your corporate good governance have highly competitive and socially responsible enterprises which will make us members of the global value chain and help to correct the imbalances in our economy.